Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode number 75. Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? Well, I'm joined by my co-host, Charlie from Cultivate Crypto, who just witnessed me almost have an aneurysm because all of my technology is malfunctioning at the same time. I don't know what's going on. It's been an ongoing thing now for the last couple of days, but we're here and we are ready to talk to you guys about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and Charlie. People still think it's too late.
People think it's too late. People think it's going down to zero, whatever, same stuff that we've been dealing with for 75 episodes. And what was the price when we started? Roughly $3,600.
Yep. Bro, people would literally, I guarantee you there are people out there like, look, let me see if I got, they'll be like, listen, look, we got this official Bitcoin.com pistol. And you got to like go shoot 4 people, but we'll sell you $3,000 Bitcoin if you do that. There are people out there that would do it. People would literally kill for $3,000 Bitcoin. And guys, I'm sorry. RIP. Those days are completely over. You are never getting that again.
Never below 7,000 again, in my opinion.
It's a good time to be alive. So that's what we're talking about today. And we're just going to talk about just... First of all, why we've been right. To watch the history of our shows. Second of all, the price that Bitcoin is projected to be at the end of this year, the price that projected to be end of next year, and then logically speaking, should you buy Bitcoin or should you buy cryptocurrency in general? That's what we are talking about today. Charlie, what are your thoughts on this subject?
I might be a little bit biased. My website here or over here, cultivatecrypto.com, might be a little bit biased. You know what I mean? But this is the funny thing, right? So the way the charts currently look in terms of any asset in the world, minus other cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin looks to be the best performing asset this year. And will continue to be through probably at least spring of next year. So that might seem like a bold statement or an overly biased statement, but we've got some simple facts to back that up here today on the data side as well as the fundamental side as well. But even China at the end of September, throughout all of its state media, right, did a coordinated campaign to tell its citizens that Bitcoin is the best performing asset of 2020. And I mean, if you just go from the Corona low, right, the Corona crash that we had in March, the low on any market there to its most recent high, right? Bitcoin's most recent high from the Corona low was about a 220% increase. Mm-hmm. The only thing that came close was silver at about 150% increase. And then gold and the S&P 500 were about like a 40 or 50% increase, maybe up to 60% for the S&P. I'd have to look at the chart 100%, but basically not even holding a candle to Bitcoin. So
I'm trying not to be like really like a condescending jerk, but like I looked at, somebody was like, oh, I made like a 12% return on the year on my stock portfolio. And I was just like,
oh, good for you. I mean, you're making money.
In my mind, I was just like, old man, like you you foolish old man. That's literally what I was thinking. I bit my tongue in and say it, but I was just like, did you send a fax this morning as well? Like, did you ride your horse to work? Like people were like, oh, crypto is risky, but Charlie and I, we're starting to come to the conclusion that Charlie and I are exceptionally above IQ, and we joke around and we make a lot of jokes and stuff, but real talk, if you talk to us, we're very fucking smart people, and we have we're just like, to be honest with you, we're just a bunch of degenerate salesmen that just start our own thing and figured out oh my God, this cryptocurrency thing is here to stay. And we both, I think the number one thing that unites me and Charlie is our mutual hatred for the government and the banking system. That's like the backbone of our friendship. What would you say?
Dude, anytime that subject comes up, we just have a field day. It's fucking great.
And we looked at what's going on, right? Like, think about it. If you guys, obviously me and Charlie, we live in Japan, so we have to do a lot of international bank transfers. Some of you guys have never done an international bank transfer in your entire life, okay? And looking at this circumstances we have here, I just went through a nightmare with Chase Bank and Shinsei Bank and trying to send $30,000 between the United States and Japan. They misinputted one of the account numbers from the Japan side, from the Chase side. The money, the $30,000 arrived at the bank. They're like, hey, this money arrived and everything matches except for this one extra zero in your account number. So they have to amend the wire. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me call the Chase amendment center. Like, oh, well, due to the beer bug, the wire center is no longer taking calls, blah, 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 which is just garbage, right? It's just like, you just guys don't want to work. And then, I put in an amendment to do it. The amendment never gets done. Something doesn't happen. I can't talk to any human. So my $30,000 is just floating around in another realm up there. It's been more than 10 days. I literally don't know where the hell my money is. And I'm calling between Shinsei. I'm calling between Chase. Both of them are accusing me of laundering money. I'm just, I'm like, what am I laundering money for? What am I doing? Like, what am I like? I don't, what do you, how do you even, what's the purpose of laundering money? I don't even know what the purpose is. I'm that dumb. All I know how to do is make money online. And so, this has been going on for over 2 weeks. If I want to send $30,000 to somebody in America right now, by the end of this show, if I use Bitcoin, by the end of 20 minutes, that money would instantaneously be present in that person's bank account, or not bank account, wallet. No BS, no questions asked, no, like, I'm a grown man. I don't need to go talk to some moron that makes $12 an hour to tell me what to do with my money. You know what I mean? I work my friggin' rear end off for that. But that's the archaic system of banking that we're dealing with today. And it's just, it's been grandfathered in because there's no other replacement until now.
Well, yeah, until 2009, January 3rd, when Satoshi Nakamoto opened up the first, Bitcoin mining rig. And at that time it was magic internet money. It was nerd money. It was nothing, right? Now you got entire corporations putting tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. I mean, when you go to your bank, right, what's the best interest rate they're going to give you on a yearly basis in general, right? Maybe 2%, maybe 3%, you'd be lucky if you get 3%. Mm-hmm. And that's going to barely not even hold off inflation, basically, right?
Yeah.
So, whereas in crypto right now, there's staking and then there's interest bearing platforms that are giving you anywhere between 5 to 15% interest on year. And they're not paying you out in dollars. They're paying you out in crypto, right? So if you understand, not believe, if you understand, and that there's a big difference between the two, because a lot of people use the word, oh, I don't believe in crypto yet. I don't think this. It's like, it's not, crypto doesn't give a shit about how you feel. It cares about what's, the chart is saying and what people are actually doing. And so if you understand where crypto is going and you get paid, let's say, for example, you have one Bitcoin at $10,000 and you get, let's say it stays at roughly $10,000 for a year, you get 0.1 Bitcoin, right? In a couple of years, if Bitcoin's, let's say 30, 50, $100,000, let's just say $100,000, that 0.1 Bitcoin that you gain in interest that year, if you were to hold that 0.1 Bitcoin, would be the same amount as the original Bitcoin you had in that position. So 0.1 Bitcoin times 100,000 is $10,000. Your original capital was one Bitcoin at $10,000.
Right.
So not only did you get an extra $10,000, you also got an extra $90,000 from the interest. So therefore you gained $100,000 in pure profit just by buying and holding for a couple of years.
Our local Chinese moon gang, hot dude army man, Victor Zhu. This guy is talk about a guy who's just taken the information that I've given you, Victor, and that Charlie has given you, and like just like running through walls with it. And
oh yeah,
he has like a bunch of girlfriends. He's got a bunch of money. I mean, this guy and he is a gangster. He is just killing the game right now.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Like during our crypto mindset course, even before it started, right? Me and Victor was talking. He's like, should I do this? Should I do that? Just based on, he's just running things past me. He'd already done the research himself. I was like, yep, that sounds about right. Go for it. The weekend or the half week before the course, he made $6,000 on a single trade. I'm like, sweet. Glad you got that. It was good teamwork. But then during the course, right, we told people to buy Celsius, which is the best performing cryptocurrency over the last 1.5 months, right? We're around 40 cents. We're like, hey, everybody, even though the course hasn't started yet, you've bought the course for the Crypto Mindset Q4 2020 course. You should get into Celsius around 40 cents or so. Then once the course started, it was around 50, 55 cents. People were like, do you think it'll go below 50? I'm like, just get some. It's at $1.30 right now, or $1.27. So there were people in the middle of the course not complaining, right? Obviously, everybody was making money on that. But there were some people like, oh, I only got a 50% increase in the matter of a week or two.
Spoiled rotten. Spoiled rotten.
I mean, it paid for the course for almost everybody who put, enough into it, right? Mm-hmm. Free money.
One of our, I'm not going to say that. It's too much information about him. But he was basically, he works for a company and then he can get me a discount on a product, but I have to give him a credit card number. And he's like, don't worry. He's like, Charlie has a bunch of my money. So you can like, just, if I like rob you, you can just take it. But, that was just funny for him to mention that. Great guy.
That's funny. Yeah. He's a good guy.
So, but yeah,
we're making money on that already too. It's like, it's win, 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 win out here. Everybody's paying attention and taking action, right? It feels like a lot of work to take action on crypto right away, but you do baby steps, right? And that's where you go.
So let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin, because actually from last week until now, we had a significant jump up in the Bitcoin price. It's like
$8.
Yeah, when Bitcoin goes up, I'm just like, yep. 2017, like every 30 minutes, checking Bitcoin price. Charlie, what's it out now? Over in Charlie's cubicle. Charlie, did you see this? Look, Bitcoin Cash is spiking right now, dude. It's listed on Coinbase. Look at this. That was the day I made $6,000 in the office. I was like, Charlie, I just made $6,000. Let's go drink. Let's get out of here.
Let's go have like a 3-hour lunch, baby.
And then our boss came over. He was like, you guys need to be working harder. Me and Charlie were like, fuck this guy. Oh my God. And guys, we're just trying to tell you a brave new world is here. And like I said, I've due to my years of being in cryptocurrency, I'm a firm Bitcoin maximalist, and that kind of makes me like a Bitcoin boomer, a cryptocurrency boomer, if you will. But it's an insultingly safe, lucrative bet. Just like if you were to treat Bitcoin as like your savings account, it's going to inflate. It's going to deflate naturally. And you guys might be thinking deflate as in lose value. No, regular currency goes through inflation that eventually goes down to nada. Bitcoin is programmed to deflate, as in the value is only going to get greater. And as fiat currency continues to lose its value and Bitcoin continues to gain its value, right? And I'm doing like scales as in weight, okay, not bars, okay? Then the numbers are going to just get astronomical. So let's do this, Charlie. Let's talk about what are your predictions with the Bitcoin and on the chart right now. And then after that, let's talk about what we think for end of year predictions, because mine's have kind of changed up with the upcoming election chaos, and also end of year cycles, and then what we think is going to happen next year as well. So whenever you're ready, just take a look at that. Yeah. Guys, don't forget to put your Bitcoin emojis in the chat. If you're in the Hot Dude Army, you now can get Bitcoin emojis and put them in the chat. Just put your Bitcoin emojis in the chat right there. Click on that link to join the Hot Dude Army and become a member of this channel. It's only $9.99 a month to support me and all of our glory together.
Yep. So before I show the chart, the one thing that I want to mention is since April of this year, one of the things that I've been looking for and calling for is a decorrelation, not 100% decorrelation, but a starting of a decorrelation between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, right? They're highly correlated at the beginning of the year, also through the pandemic. But I'm starting to see signs of a decorrelation coming soon, probably through the second half of this quarter, right? So if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart, we can see that, and then we can take a look at the S&P 500 chart as well and see that. Take a look just over at the overall health of the general economy. We can kind of go over that type of information, I think. So it's all good. Let's put this here. So, all right, can you see that?
Yes.
All right.
Let's get our
So
ugly mugs off the camera here.
so where to start, right? Let's zoom out, or let's zoom out and we'll look at the long term of what's happening with Bitcoin. So all you really need to know, you don't even need to know all these lines and dots and all this stuff that's going on. Just don't worry about that right now. The main thing to look at here is this descending trend line, this orange line from the top at $20,000 down to last year's top at $13,880, and then down through the current major resistance line of 10,500. So Bitcoin's price being above 10,500 is massive because there's only been, I think, just a few months or a few weeks of Bitcoin price action. As you can see here, this is a weekly chart, meaning one candle is 1 week of price action. So we had above 10,500 here from end of November 2017 to the end of February, right? So that was about 3 months. And then we had last year, we had end of June to middle of June to maybe the middle of August, about 1 month. So that's 4 months. And we've had about 1 month or so here this year, maybe 1.5 months. So less than 6 months in Bitcoin's entire 10-year history, where Bitcoin was above 10,500. So it's significant that when we zoom in here, right, what we had in the last couple of months was we had a run up, right? We tried to break above 10,500 once, twice, 3 times. The 4th time was the charm, broke way above it, went to 12,400, came back down. People were kind of shitting the bed right here around 9,800. Some people were, buying when blood was on the streets, which is great. And then we pop up above 10,500 for a couple of weeks, and now we bust back up towards this 11,500 level. So this is going to be important to look at here in the next little bit of information I'm going to give. But to zoom out, and so you were asking for end of year predictions and then next year 2021 predictions. So I'll go with the 2021 prediction first. So, and I've been calling this on my channel for several months, which is we have this downwards trend line, and we have another upward sloping trend line here, giving us a massive triangle on the weekly chart. And once you break out of this type of pattern, and then you breach the previous high, which was here at 13,880. So basically $13,900. So I put a line right there. Once we break above that price, then you take the top of the triangle to the bottom of the triangle, you add that from the breakout. It's basically $16,000 difference. Plus you put that on the breakout of 11,000, and you get a $27,000 price target for sometime next year for Bitcoin. Now,
Jesus Christ, $27,000.
Yep.
So can I just be completely transparent?
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
My filthy, stinking normie inside of me, it doesn't really
compute.
It doesn't really fully believe it.
Of course. And so there's a couple other bits of information we can look at to support this case, but this is not yet in play until Bitcoin's price reaches above 14,000 or 13,900, right? So we could, get rejected from the current price and come back down on top of this trend line, break below it, and then all of a sudden we got massive failure, right? Something like that is definitely possible. Now, is it probable or likely? I don't think so, based on the short-term time frame stuff, which we'll look at here now. But that is what we're looking at in terms of if we do break above this area to the bullish side, then that's the price we're looking for. So if we zoom in here and we take a look at what's happening right now. So we have this support resistance zone of 10,500 to 11,600. And you can see Bitcoin tried to come above it earlier this week, got rejected, right? And Bitcoin's price is sitting to the higher part of this band. But until we break above 11,600, right? We need to have a weekly close above that area basically in order for
11,600.
Yep, to be more bullish. And the interesting thing is if you even take this to a monthly scale, which is kind of a little bit easier to see some of the areas of support and resistance, you can see here, right, these two tops of these wicks going over to the tops of these previous monthly candles, right? That 11,600 mark has been hard for Bitcoin to stay above on a monthly basis. And so if we do close this month above that level, that would be extremely bullish. And the next price that this would shoot towards is about 13,500. That's the next major resistance area right about there. And that's where we got rejected last year at that high period. But anyways, if we go back down to the 1 week and we just get, okay, well, actually we got to go down to the daily chart and say, okay, so why are we bullish right now and where could the price go? Oops. All right. So in the short-term time frame, the thing that we're mainly looking at is the Bitcoin 60-day cycles. This has been tried and true of an average of 58.5 days per cycle since 2017. So we go on a 60-day cycle. Day 60 would be around November 7th. And so what does that mean? What are we counting? You can see here in the previous cycles, we're counting low to low and then low to low with a high either before day 30 or after day 30, the midpoint of the cycle. Now, if we have a high after day 30, which day 30 was around here, we got the high clearly 50 days into the cycle. That is what we call a bullish cycle. This one was a bearish one. That's why the price didn't really do much during this cycle, because the price went to a high before day 30. So where was day 30 in this cycle? We've already passed it here. And we beat the previous high of the first half of the cycle. So that's bullish.
What was that? The first high was what, 11.2?
Right here at 11,200 exactly.
When was that? That was like what? That was not July. That was like late August, late September, or?
Yep, September 19th, where that high came in. And then, so we know that the cycle is likely to continue up at least until about day 45, which is about October 24th.
Right.
So we have probably a minimum of another 10 days of positive price action. So that's nice. And okay, so what could be our price target? A simple thing that we can look at is we had a downtrend here, two tops on this trend, and we broke out of it. And then we had a uptrend here. And this creates a triangle. Again, if we take the high to the low of that triangle, this basically gives us a target of 12,100 on that pattern. And so that by sometime between the 24th and the early part of November.
Fantastic. 12.1, huh?
Yeah. So from our current price, that's not too bad, right? That's about a 6% increase, 5% increase. So if somebody's, confident or happy with a 10% increase on a year, then they'll be ecstatic for a 5% increase in a couple of weeks. So compared to normal markets, it's pretty good. But if we do beat that, right? If we do beat 12,000 actually sooner rather than later, we could try either this previous high at 12,400 or even up to 13,000, 13,500. Now, I would say that's probably too far for this period, but we'll see in the next, I think, 1 week how quickly or how slowly we try to gain towards this. So that's the current pattern situation with.
What would you say is? That looks fantastic. And so even if theoretically someone were to buy now, they would be able to make money by the end of this cycle, and end of this month or early of November, right? Now, let me ask you this: what about end of year? What are you thinking?
So even better.
So
This
get money.
So let's say we do a relatively not bearish, but just not overly bullish scenario, kind of a realistic scenario, right? We come up, we hit that 12,100, and we come down into, let's say, just after the election on like November 8th, right? And we have that drawdown period from the election or just before the election down through it, right? Then we have to kind of wait and see, how low does that go at that time? But if we do get another bullish cycle from there, so we got the next 60-day cycle from about that time would go until early January. So that would be, let's say we have another bullish cycle. So that would be until day 45, which is Christmas Eve, basically, or just before December 23rd. So if we got another bullish cycle and Bitcoin's price stayed decently above 11,000 on that pullback, right? So what we would want to look for is, okay, how high do we go by the end of this month? Do we stay above 11,000? And then if we do, then where can we run up to? Well, basically somewhere up towards this 13,000 to 13,000 or 14,000 level would be pretty realistic by the end of the year. Now, that's not a guarantee because anything beyond the current cycle is massively speculative, but this is what it's kind of shaping out to look like as, what we've gotten here with Bitcoin throughout the entire year is, right, we got a low here on the Corona crash. Then we had, which happened with all markets. Then we had a higher low, higher low, higher low. Looks like we're going to get another higher low. And until that pattern stops, we're still in an uptrend. So things are looking very positive. Another thing, just in terms of like, what about the other cryptocurrencies? We have this thing called the Bitcoin dominance chart. And actually, when Bitcoin dominance is low, that means the entire market is healthy, that more cryptocurrencies people will have confidence in. And therefore, Bitcoin, as well as the other cryptocurrencies, will increase in price as this percentage decreases. And so that's been decreasing since January of this year very steadily. And it's, as long as it stays below this orange line, 200-week moving average, then all other cryptocurrencies are in a positive situation as well.
Wow. And what Bitcoin dominance is at what now?
Currently about 60%.
That's hefty.
Yeah. So Bitcoin's still ruling the market, still the king. And yeah, it will continue to be. The interesting thing is once we get below this area here of about 50% dominance, there's not much previous history. I think it's about December 2017 to about August of 2018 when Bitcoin dominance was below 50%. So only, half a year. And so there's not much action in this area. Once Bitcoin dominance goes below 50%, the altcoins are going to go absolutely like belligerent, right? It's just going to, crypto is going to be like, throw your money into not just about anything, but, something halfway decent and you'll make money. Now, I don't think that'll happen for another maybe year and a half. We'll see how long it takes.
That is insanity. Somebody asked me if I invest. Somebody asked me if they invest $100,000 strategically between now and the next bull run, could they make $1 million? I was like, yep.
The end of when?
Between now and the end of the next bull run, basically end of next year.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, you have a chance at it. I think basically a 10 times increase of 100,000 over this bull run is what we'd be looking for just on Bitcoin. If you bought it on Ethereum, you'd probably have a much better chance at that faster.
Right. I want to talk about that too.
Sure. Yeah, let's look at the price of Ethereum in that case then.
Well, let's just talk about Ethereum in general. So I want to just give my piece because so I'll say this. Trickery aside, I'm pretty sure Trump is going to win in a landslide. Everybody is coming out and in like just massive support because people are dumb. Don't get me wrong. People are like insufferably dumb. Okay. But I want to just talk about some things real quick. I sent you a thing on Twitter, and this is a guy named his name is Jorge Masvidal, right? And I just want to play this real quick. It's a 2-minute clip, but I just want everybody to pay attention because I think the average person is kind of waking up to the kind of just overall BS of the system in general. Okay, take a look at what we got here. Just listen up.
I'm going to let you in on something. The Democrats just think that they're entitled to the Latino vote. They think that we just have to hand it over to them. That's right. We sure as hell don't. Así mismo. Así mismo. They got to show us what they can do for us, what they can do for our communities. We're not going to buy the same wolf tickets and false promises that destroyed great countries like Venezuela and Cuba. It's not going to happen. You know what else is not going to work for them? Playing Despacito on your cell phone to pander to us. Hell no. You got to give us some credit for having heads on our shoulders. I'm going to wrap this up. Some words of Barack Obama. He said elections have consequences. That is true. And those words have never been more true than they are today. We either re-elect President Trump and keep America great. Amen. Or we let Joe Biden destroy the greatest country the world has ever seen. Now, I'm a professional athlete and I've been one for most of my life, so I've always seen things through a sports lens. That makes Donald Trump our head coach. And before the global pandemic, we were winning Super Bowls. And when you're winning Super Bowls, you don't fire the coach. Doesn't matter if you don't like the plays he runs, the players he puts on the field, or what he says on Twitter. You sure as hell don't replace him for another coach that's been in the business for 47 years at every level and never won a fucking game.
I think for the common man, I think the choice is clearly Trump. A lot of people are afraid to say about this and whatever. Oh, your mic is really. Oh, it could be me. Hold on, it could be me. Really? I jammed up my audio for that.
Okay.
So I think that the kind of average guy with the brain in his head, and he's not like some liberal soy boy, and he's not been brainwashed by social media. I'm pretty sure they're voting for Trump. It's just a common sense choice. Like looking at Joe Biden, like stuttering his way through sentences, sniffing children. You know, it's just like get
massive dementia.
Put this guy in the grave already. You know, like
and then you have to look at his running mate as what would that look like in the White House, and that's like a massive no go.
Now, listen, America. Like the only reason Barack Obama won is because he was black. Period. And the only reason he got 8 years is because dude, one of the Democratic campaign managers. He said, he was a black guy. He says, you got to realize white guilt is real and we're going to use that. And if Barack didn't get a full 8 years, the full term, everybody be like, all right, because racist, right? America is like probably one of the least racist countries in the world. You want to talk about real racism? Come to Asia. It doesn't matter what you are. If you're not Asian, come to Asia. If you're black and you think you get treated like shit in America, come to Asia. If you're a white and you think racism doesn't exist, come to Asia. You will experience a mouthful of bitter racism. America is America's probably the least racist country on the planet. I'm not saying that the racism doesn't exist in America. It certainly does. Racism exists across the planet. But this whole, going back to the statement here I'm trying to make is, the only reason he won is that. So I think the whole, Kamala is a black woman. We should give her a chance. I don't think that's going to, I just think we already did it.
Not to mention she's a sociopath. I mean, literally speaking, if you look at any of her tendencies, it's absolutely insanity.
And then another thing is this. So originally my belief was Trump was going to win in the landslide, which I still think he is. But now I know that these Democratic-run cities and Democratic-run states, they are they're doing the beer bug lockdowns to control the mail-in votes. And by controlling the mail-in votes, you can certainly try and manipulate the system and then just screw everything up. So prior to that, I was saying that Trump's just going to win in a landslide if there was no, trickery involved. And then Bitcoin was going to skyrocket in price because Bitcoin and the stock market are still coupled. They are decoupling, but at the moment, they are stock market is king, and Bitcoin is number 2, and then all the shit coins and hex and all that trash are under. They're like, they have no say. They just have to go where the market goes, right? They're like the little minnows that swim around with the big shark. And so what's happening now is there's going to be massive political unrest. There's going to be more riots. There's going to be more crazy stuff. There's going to be a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of chaos coming in this upcoming November. And so I think that my prediction of Bitcoin skyrocketing after Trump wins in regards to the stock market skyrocketing like it did in 2016, I think that this is something that is probably not going to happen now.
Which part?
The clear W and then the rocketing of the price.
Oh,
right.
I'm still on that train. I mean, there's a part of me which is, I can show this data here that's just really, really interesting. And this has just been playing out exactly how I've been, not like exactly to the day and to the hour, exactly how I've seen it throughout the year. But since the beginning of this year, right, since April, roughly, it's been looking like things like gold, silver, and Bitcoin can start to decouple more massively from the stock market than previously. And one of the main reasons for that is, of course, the stock market's doing better than a lot of other markets around the world. Like it's doing a lot better than the FTSE in the UK, simply because of the tech stocks, right? A lot of the technology companies are not going down. Those guys are doing very, very well. And so that's part of the basket of the S&P 500 that's keeping the S&P 500 up pretty well. But the interesting thing about most of the other companies, right, is companies like GE as an example, most of these companies are in massive, massive debt. The United States government is in massive, massive debt. That's why, QE and all this stuff is happening with, the Federal Reserve. But it can't last forever. And even after, when a recession starts, it doesn't just start for, a couple of months. Then it's gone. It's, nothing to see here, right? Eventually you see a second drawdown, which it looks like is coming for the S&P. I actually have the S&P chart, S&P 500 chart up here, and there's massive bearish divergence.
Pull it up.
Yep. And,
and just so you guys don't know, while Charlie's pulling up, we got some new viewers. Bull market means a lot of money is coming in. Bear market means a lot of money is going down. You want to be in a bull market. You do not want to be in a bear market. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yep. So two points on the S&P 500, which are massively different than Bitcoin.
You want to explain what the S&P 500 is for some folks that may not know what it is?
Yep. So just top 500 stock index for the top 500 companies in the United States. And so here we had one thing which was interesting on the S&P 500, which is a lower low. So this is a sign that even though we have an uptrend here, right, once you get a lower low, that means this is the beginning of a potential downtrend. Now, this alone won't, continue this move into the downside. We have a strong rally and all-time highs here. But here's the thing that just on a technical basis, this has nothing to do with, politics or anything else. Just this is purely based on the data, which is we have the RSI continuing to go lower here, even though we've got new all-time highs. The RSI, the relative strength index, right, is showing weakness, meaning this can't go as high as it was, and it was already overbought before, and now it's not even getting close to overbought. And this is what we call bearish divergence, meaning even though the price is going higher, the RSI is not showing the same thing. And this is usually what precedes a downtrend, right? So we have an uptrend in price, a downtrend in RSI. This is divergence, and this precedes a downtrend, and we have this lower low. So that's possible. Now, here's the part that is a little bit more intense. So this is on the weekly chart. So this could mean, pull back here down to something like this, which would be from the current price of the S&P 500 down here, be a 10% drop. That'd be pretty big for the S&P 500. Over what period of time is this necessarily going to happen? Right, several weeks to several months. But if we pull back to the monthly chart, it looks even worse, which is you have from this point here, which is September of 2017, so the last 3 years of price going up and the RSI going down. So that's even more massive bearish divergence. Now, if we zoom out here and look at a previous time in history, right? If we looked at the 2008 crash, the RSI didn't have any of that bearish divergence. It was just a pure crash based on the housing markets. But the other time we had a massive bearish divergence on the monthly chart here for the S&P was here in the mid to late 90s. And then we had the 2000, crash here, and we had bearish divergence compared to the price during that same period of time. It was going up, RSI was going down. That was just before a pretty big crash. In this case, I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same thing, but this was a 50% drawdown, right, from that time. And a 50% drawdown from the current price would not be good. That would be very, very bad. And that would bring the S&P back to the same area roughly of January of 2014. And this would bring it actually to an interesting area of support, which would be the 200-month moving average, right? It lines up pretty well with that. So I don't think it would be a 50% drop. It might be something more like to this area down here, which it still could be like a 40% drop. But be careful. Now, the tech stocks, I think, are strong. So that's the one thing maybe holding this up. But just be aware that the chart...
Apples and the Amazons and whatnot.
Correct. Exactly. Right. Tesla. Tesla's a fucking beast.
Is Tesla considered a tech company?
Yeah, it's a technology company, right?
Oh, interesting. Not automobile?
Well, it's automotive tech. So
okay, interesting.
They do batteries as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the other thing in here that's interesting to look at, which is this is even worse in my opinion, is there's going to be a lot of companies going insolvent. And there already are a lot of companies going insolvent this year.
What does insolvent mean for the viewers?
Bankrupt.
Oh, wow. So they're just going to mean that, because insolvent means they cannot liquidate anything. So they're just running out of capital, cash.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And that's why we got a company like MicroStrategy, which took $425 million and bought Bitcoin, and then took $200 million and bought gold because they didn't want to hold it in cash, or they didn't want their own stock to be volatile. So they went to something that was hedged. And the main difference between what's happening in the S&P, what's happening in gold and Bitcoin, is in gold and Bitcoin, it's not related to debt, right? So there is no debt holding Bitcoin down. There's debt, massive debt holding these companies down. And when a recession happens, they can't pay off those debts. And eventually they become insolvent, or they go bankrupt, or both. And then it's not good. So here you have this massive drawdown in GDP, right? Just the state of the overall United States economy. And look at this. I mean, from what is it? I think this says it goes back to 1948 or something like this, basically prior to the 60s. This drawdown usually, right? You can look here, right? So in the 1950s and 60s, the average growth rate of annual GDP growth rate was about 4%. And this is the gross domestic product, right, growth rate. In the 70s and 80s, we had about a 3% increase on average. In the last 10 years, we've only had about a 2% increase on average year to year. But now, just in the last year, basically, this went to -8, which we haven't seen that number anywhere below 5 since in any of our lifetimes.
And this is due to the beer bug?
This is because of the coronavirus and the recession that came because of that, right?
Thanks to the fucking Democrats.
Yeah, there's a million reasons for it. And that's why the United States started doing QE and money printing last September, not not like a month ago, but a year and a month ago, to try to combat this type of thing because they could see it coming. But yeah, that's not good for long-term growth. That doesn't mean everything's going to collapse and everything's going to be absolutely terrible. It just means
it's fucked, Charlie. Let's just say it.
I'm just trying to give a little bit of shred of hope here. I'm not trying to be all doom and gloomy, you know?
Buy guns, boys. Buy guns, buy Bitcoins, learn to fight, learn some jujitsu.
Yep. Here's the last bit of data that I'll mention on this, which is interesting as well. So Yelp actually looked at a lot of business closures over the course of this year from March 1st until now. And you can just see the trend of business closures obviously increasing. More businesses are closing, right, over this period of time. So, but this is the interesting part. The total, not looking too terrible, but the temporary, right, going down, temporary closures going down, but the permanent closures of businesses is increasing. So that's that bankruptcy and insolvency that I'm talking about. So permanent business closures has been increasing pretty steadily over the course of this year. That's lining up with the same information I was mentioning before. So that's not good.
David H says, if America is fucked, Japan is double fucked. Twice the debt, even less growth in GDP and population. No, America is fucked for way different reasons. The Japanese people will come together as a unified race during a certain economic crisis, whatever, and be like, we are one, we are Japanese. In America, majority of women in America hate the men. There's not a lot of peace. There's not a lot of societal peace in America. You guys don't understand. Like I was just walking around today in Japan, like walking in the park with my little fucking vagina magnet here. And you just see people getting along, having a good time. They don't have like a massive drug problem here. They don't have a massive, what's the unemployment rate in Japan, Charlie? Like 3%?
Yeah, it's very, very low.
Okay. There is so much. This is David H. Have you been to Japan? Let's talk about that. Go ahead and type your no out. Okay. Have you lived in Japan before? Go ahead and type your no out there as well. Okay. And not on base, like in the culture.
Well, and here's one of the other things is I'm not trying to come out with this narrative because this is what I want to see happen. I'm just looking at the facts, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, in the facts, Japan has, plenty of issues. Every major country in the G20, right, has financial issues. Now, relatively speaking, right, will they all kind of wash each other out because they're all like Japan, America, Germany, these other countries, they're all here together, and will they kind of band together and basically help each other out? Yes, they're going to try to do all these things with, central bank money printing throughout every single country. They're all going to be printing as much money as they can to try to, slow this type of stuff down. But generally, this is a global problem. It's not just a country by country problem. It's a massive problem for the entire world.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's a problem for everybody except for, I would probably say, China and Russia.
Yeah, they're going to be affected by it from different ways. So for right now, probably not too much. The one thing that tends to happen during these types of events, if it does get more extreme from basically now on out, is that you get global political tensions. And so you could see some things in terms of small skirmishes between countries. And if one of those gets out of proportion for whatever reason, that wouldn't be good either. Not saying that would happen or that needs to happen or that will. Nobody has any way to predict any of that type of stuff. But that's one way that countries in negative situations can draw in other countries. Now, there are a lot of smaller countries right now taking on Bitcoin as a means of hedging Bitcoin and gold, hedging against other countries' currencies and protecting themselves and trying to move into the future, which is something innovative, a government actually trying to do something for the future of its own citizens. Right. Right. We have some smaller countries trying to do this because they know they can't win in the global sphere right now.
Right. And let's talk about,
but wherever there's right now, right, the opportunity, so the last thing I'll say on this debt idea, so the debt holding down the economy not only in America, but also in a lot of other countries. Whereas Bitcoin doesn't have that downwards pressure and has a lot of better things going for it. The last thing that I'll mention is basically there's a massive opportunity in all this. So if you are young, under 30 years old, and you're not very far in debt, and you can start a business without going in debt, right? There are going to be plenty of businesses going out of business that creates room for the young people. So it's kind of like a forest fire, right? Weeds out some of the old stuff, allows new growth. So if you can find ways to start new businesses without going into debt or going into much debt or using capital you currently have, those guys will be the winners this decade.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, I think a lot of these let's be honest, Charlie, we've met a lot of fucking idiots who are running businesses that are, like, quite frankly, deserve to go out of business. Yeah. Like, a lot of you guys have like this idealistic view of somebody running a business, like, oh, he sold this and he sold that and it's so proper and he does this and he does that. You'd be surprised how many of these guys don't even know what they're talking about, don't even know what they're doing, and just getting by on like sheer...
They're getting loans after loans after loans.
And then just like the fat of the land. Like, a lot of people are still living off, like, you know, my friend that came and visited us, he's 34 now. He's still never worked a day in his life. Just still dad's giving him money. There's a lot of people like that in America, just living off of their parents' greatness, not really contributing much to the society at all, other than video games expenditures, for which the dad is technically paying for, that and drugs, you know? So it's just like a lot of these businesses are getting flushed out because they're living off the fat of the land. They're living off of America's past glory. But, you know, the one thing America is doing correct is tech. However, the rest of the world is catching up, especially China. China is winning the AI race.
They're winning the crypto race too. Right now, they're coming out with their central bank digital currency probably 2 to 3 years in advance of all of their countries. They're also creating an entire infrastructure for people within China to create decentralized applications. Basically, they're making it easier for people to develop decentralized applications and things related to cryptocurrency and blockchain. They have said many times that they are trying to be number one in blockchain, cryptocurrency, and decentralized internet applications. And they are doing so at a rapid rate, where other countries are kind of just sitting there watching, okay, who's going to start doing something? China's already doing it.
I'm telling you guys, if you are sleeping on China, I mean, I'm not joking. I don't even know if Charlie's going to see it through, but I'm going to China very soon. I am going to China, and I'm told,
once they open up the border,
dude, I'm going to go tour. I'm going to tour every level of education. I'm going to go to elementary school. I'm going to go to middle school. I'm going to go to high school. I'm going to go to university. I just want to see how everything's run. I want to see how luxury establishments are run. I'm going to go into a factory. I want to go see how a factory is run, and I'm just going to study the culture. And I know that I'm going to be blown away, because think about, you know, for all you guys, you might be thinking like, why are all these like Chinese people popping up in movies recently? Like the G.I. Joe movie, all of like the low hanging fruit movies, you know, Fast and the Furious, AKA known as Wild Speed in Japan. The Fast and the Furious franchise in Japan is known as Wild Speedo. All right. And it's like Wild Speedo 7, you know? So, that is like having more Chinese people in it. The Pacific Rim had Chinese people in it. If you watch the movie Interstellar, guess who comes and saves the day, right? Oh, it's the Chinese. You think this is a coincidence? You think America just likes the Chinese? Why do you think Disney is rebranding and making a huge push on Mulan right now? It's because China is a huge up-and-coming market. Why do you think LeBron James is like going social justice warrior and like basically bowing down and submitting to China when one of the owners spoke up against China, and China's like, that's not okay. You know, they cracked the whip on their friggin' little minions, And they're like, you guys better obey. Why? Because everybody wants a piece of China. Okay, you got to see and read between the lines. China is not a joke. We're here in Asia. Okay, China is angry too. China wants to be number one.
Oh man, yeah, they've been trying. I mean, they've been trying to rule Asia for hundreds, thousands of years, and any chance they get to increase their power, just it's lovely to them. Of course.
Yep. So, we're talking about this. Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? The answer is no. Look at what we just talked about. Look at the data. Look at follow the money. Look, everybody, you know how so fucking dumb everybody is? Everybody's like talking about like, oh, did you see Cardi B's wet ass pussy song and all this, trash? And it's like, no, I haven't. Like, of course I've watched it because I'm tapped into social media culture or whatever. But at the same time, I'm making my investments. I'm making moves. I'm in Asia. I'm on the winning team. Like, people don't seem to realize, like, America is like, there's a lot of people who are like, their patriotism is extremely misplaced. Their patriotism would be right out the door if they're making $250,000 a year or more. Once they get that big old fat tax bill, like, hey, you gotta give us money for this fake scam system that we're running. Okay? Because why are we paying taxes if they could just push a button and print whatever the hell they want?
Which is what they're going to do in the next 5 years.
No.
I mean, they're already doing it to some extent. They're just going to increase their ability to do so.
Yep.
And the last thing I want to leave people with in terms of a little bit of bullish momentum for Bitcoin is I'll share my screen on this. Take a look at this one.
Oh, crypto bears bull run. I absolutely love it.
The only thing that would make this better is if the bus was a short bus.
Short bus with a picture of Luca and the Hex guys on it.
and maybe Peter Schiff.
Peter Schiff.
So this is brought to us by our friend, a guy in the community. You need more crypto on Instagram. Go follow him if you want some spicy crypto memes. Good stuff over there. So just shout out to that guy.
One more question before we go.
Sure.
Lao Thinking says, excluding ETH, what is Cultivate Crypto's favorite altcoin?
For now, I mean, the last month, the biggest gainer that I saw was on Celsius Network. I bought it at 37 cents. It went up to $1.48. It's making me very happy right now. One that I've been talking about on my channel that's going to do very well over the next 3 to 6 months to 9 months is Cosmos. The ticker symbol for that is Atom, ATOM. Favorite one, I don't really choose favorites. I just kind of go with what's winning. I think probably the one that I see the most potential in during this entire bull run is Polkadot, which the ticker symbol for that is DOT. So Polkadot and it's basically its brother Kusama, KSM. Those two, I think, are going to be massive winners throughout the next 2.5 years. So I would probably go with those two as my favorite at the moment, even though I just want to go on whatever's profitable. Right.
Yeah. My favorite crypto is the one that makes bank. One thing I would like to get a little bit more knowledgeable on is Monero. Just because of it's so safe. The privacy aspect of it is extremely safe. It's like the most secure crypto, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. For privacy, it is the most secure. And interesting thing is there's a lot of governments trying to regulate it out of exchanges, out of existence on normal places. They're trying to push it underground. But actually, there was a research study done by the people within the Monero team recently, basically showing why it's perfectly legal currency and that governments will have a very hard time eradicating it. So if you're looking for the best privacy coin out there and the best functional crypto, it's Monero, and it's had a massive run up here over the last couple of months. So it's doing very well on that side too. So I think it'll be an interesting one to watch, and you can make money on it for sure this bull run.
Yeah, man. What a time to be alive. It's just fantastic. This is like, don't get weary, don't get dreary. Get out there, research, man. Guys, like, look how many people are watching the show, dude, Charlie. 92 people. 92 on my end. On your end,
it says on 137 on my end. It
right.
says.
So it's 40 something from your channel and 92 from my channel.
I see.
We're giving away gold.
Free money.
Free. And we've been doing it for over a year. And this is my least popular show. But if I put like top 10 reasons why American girls are sluts, everybody wants to watch. Right?
Not surprising.
If you don't like, but you don't want to put fat stacks in your pocket, not even your bank account, pocket, direct cash. We're talking about the future. I mean, look where I'm fucking broadcasting from. I'm on a 19th floor high rise in Tokyo, the most expensive city to live in the world. We're not faking this. This is not a green screen back here. This is real. And we're giving you guys gold. Take action. We've been telling you since last year. You know what's going to happen, Charlie? You know what's going to happen to my dedicated listeners this time year and around next year? $27,000 Bitcoin. People go, well, it's just too late to get in. You know, it's all a scam. And like, you know what? I understand. Like people like that. I understand why the Illuminati wants to kill off half the population. I get it. Well, Illuminati, call me. Recruit me. I'll join. I swear to God. What I gotta do? Drink some adrenochrome or whatever? Fucking let's do it. So, anyways, we love you guys. Get out of here. Go have a wonderful day. We're gonna get ready to do the body language mastery webinars, and until then. We will see you next week here. Hit that subscribe button right now. Subscribe right now. And hit that like and leave a comment afterwards. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.